Flemington, headquarters of racing in Victoria and one of the most famous racecourses in the Southern Hemisphere. Here, where 93 world-famous Melbourne Cups have been run, preparations are being made for the most important event in Flemington's long and colourful history, the visit of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and her husband, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. The Flemington Roses, as usual, make a grand show, and beds of annuals planned months ago for just this day add vivid splashes of colour to the green, velvet-smooth lawns. Flower boxes bedeck the stands, and in the room set aside for the use of the Queen, beautiful begonias make a magnificent display. The great day arrives, and from trains, from trams, and from motor cars, the crowds pour into the course. The invasion of Flemington began shortly after dawn, and long before midday the stands were packed. The lawns at Flemington have seen many huge crowds, but none so great as this. It was a well-dressed crowd, particularly in the members' enclosure, where the traditional grey toppers and morning suits were in keeping with the smart elegance of the women. Waiting in the royal box with committee men of the Victoria Racing Club, we see His Excellency Sir Dallas Brooks, Governor of Victoria, and the Right Honourable Robert Gordon Menzies, Prime Minister of Australia. As the time of Her Majesty's arrival draws near, the band takes up its position and members of the VRC committee, accompanied by the Premier Mr John Cain, cross the mounting yard to the track. Here she comes. In an open car, the Queen and her husband enter the course at the top of Flemington's famous Straight Six track. The escort of mounted police take up its position, and the royal progress down the full length of the straight begins to the cheers of more than 71,000 people, lining the track, on the lawns, in the stands, on the hill, and on the flat. At the turn out of the straight, cars and escort wheel round and return to a position opposite the main stand. Here the royal visitors are welcomed by the Premier, who presents the chairman of the Victoria Racing Club, Sir Chester Manifold, who in turn presents the Vice Chairman, Mr E.A. Underwood, and members of the committee. The royal party is escorted across the mounting yard to the royal box. The royal standard is broken over Flemington's main stand, and as the band plays the national anthem, Her Majesty sees portion of the huge crowd that has come to greet her. Before the party settles down for the first race of the day, Lady Manifold, wife of the VRC chairman, is presented to the Queen and takes up her position beside the Duke. Now racing goes on. Queues at the tote windows are shortening, and in the ring, punters rush for a last-minute wager on the first race, the Newmarket Handicap. Run over the Straight Six course, the Newmarket attracts the smartest sprinters in Australia, and as the 30 runners flash past the 3 furlongs post, Bo Chief leads from the favourite Birdwood, then coming Black Jet, Iron Lass, Tarian and Bright D'Amour. But as they get near the post, the favourite hits the front and going on easily, Birdwood defeats Bo Chief by 1.5 lengths, with Tarian 1.25 lengths away third. In the second race of the day, the Sire's Produce Stakes, the Queen saw Acrometus lead all the way to win comfortably from the hot favourite Indian Empire. Acrometus ran the 7 furlongs in 1 minute 24 seconds, clipping half a second from the race record. After the second race, the Queen and her party, accompanied by Sir Chester Manifold and Mr. Underwood, left the royal box and walked through the cheering crowds to the steward's stand just past the winning post. Here Her Majesty had an excellent view of the running of the Duke of Edinburgh Australian Cup over a distance of 17.5 furlongs. The finish was desperate, but inside the furlongs Sunnish raced to the lead and went on to win by a head. Sunnish first, Royal Radiant second, and Captain Hunter third. Mr. Roy Steadwell, joint owner with his wife of Sunnish, led the horse back to scale, and Victoria's leading jockey W. Williamson weighed in after the most memorable of his many wins. From the steward's stand, the Queen returned to the royal box in time to see the starters for the main race of the day, the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, a standard weight-for-age race run over a distance of 13 furlongs for a stake of £10,000 and a gold cup to be presented to the winning owner by Her Majesty. The starters go out for the parade in order: Aldershot, Flying Halo, Hydrogen, My Hero, Peshawar, Quite Talk, Advocate, Gallant Archer, Trylock, Wadalla, the favourite Cronus and Olympic Girl. And as the horses line up at the barrier, we hand over to the course broadcaster, Mr. Joe Brown, for a description of the race.
They're off now, caught them well. Cronus was one of the first to leave on the inside. Peshawar began well with Gallant Archer dropping on the rails. Wadalla going fast on the outside with Quite Talk. They're followed by Flying Halo and Aldershot going fast on the extreme outside of the field. Gallant Archer has dropped out to the rear with Advocate. Down the riverside to the 1.25 mile post now. And the leader is Aldershot. He's worked his way to the front as they went past the 1.25 miles. He's already opened up a lead of 1 length over Quite Talk. 2 lengths further back to Wadalla, being followed by Peshawar on the outside of Chromus. 1.5 lengths further back to Flying Halo and Olympic Girl together. 2 lengths further back is Hydrogen. A further 3 to Advocate, and My Hero and Gallant Archer is last. Past, making the turn over at the back of the course at the 7 furlongs post, and Aldershot is still the leader. He has an advantage of about 2.5 lengths over Quite Talk. Wadalla going up on the outside of him now. And as they go towards the 6 furlongs post, Aldershot has increased the pace now, and he streaked away to lead about 5 lengths over. Wadalla's not going to let him get away, and Wadalla's setting out after him now, about 4 or 5 lengths behind him. 4 lengths further back to Quite Talk, and they're followed then by Flying Halo and Peshawar together. There goes Chromus around them up into 3rd place now. Olympic Girl is next, and they're followed by Hydrogen back near the rear of the field with My Hero, and last of all is Gallant Archer and Advocate. Making the home turn, a little more than 3 furlongs to go, and Aldershot is still well clear of Wadalla. Chromus is in 3rd place on the rails. Flying Halo over on the outside with Olympic Girl are next. Into the straight, Aldershot ran very wide at the home home turn, and Waddell is going out after him on the rails, and Chromis is putting in his run now with Olympic Girl and Flying Halo on the outside. Down past the 2 furlongs post, Aldershot the leader, but Chromis and Waddell have swooped on him, and as they race towards the furlong post, Chromis getting through on the inside has headed Aldershot off, and as they went past the furlong post, Chromis is the leader. He's gone away a length and a half over his stablemate Waddell. Flying Halo on the outside, Aldershot's a beaten horse, and Olympic Girl finishing on. Chromis the leader near the post, Flying Halo on the outside is gathering him up at every stride. Purtell riding vigorously, the colt's going to win it. Chromis first, Flying Halo second, Olympic Girl third.
Flemington crowds love a good horse, and Chromis, perhaps the best horse in Australia today, and his popular rider J. Purtell are accorded a splendid reception. Mr. Underwood leads the 3-year-old colt back to scale. By Helios from Janio, Chromis was bred by Mr. Underwood, who races him in partnership with his sister-in-law, Mrs. J. W. Underwood. Now comes the greatest prize of all for the fortunate owners and their proud trainers and jockeys, their presentation to Her Majesty. Mr. and Mrs. Stedwell, trainer W. Allen and jockey W. Williamson are presented to the Queen by Sir Chester Manifold and receive the royal congratulations on the success of Sunish in the Duke of Edinburgh Australian Cup. Mr. Underwood receives from Her Majesty the Gold Cup won by Chromis, whose trainer R. Sinclair and rider J. Purtell are presented to the Queen and receive her congratulations on their part in the colt's grand win. Her Majesty, a lover of horses, makes a close inspection of the 2 winners and discusses their breeding lines. Naturally, she was particularly interested in Chromis, whose sire Helios, a son of Hyperion, was bred by her father, the late King George VI. And now for the Queen. The day at the races was over. Farewelled by members of the committee and a waving crowd, she drives slowly down the straight. It has been a day Flemington racegoers will never forget.